Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here once again, and I'm back for yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, as always. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Kirby in a Forgotten Land for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we have essentially did manage to able to done with the forms of those 3 levels from the likes of the forms of Originull Wasteland and all that stuff. And also we did manage to able to, yet again, we did manage to able to rescue quite a lot of those Waddle Dees on that particular things itself. So today for this video is the fact that we are going to be moving on to, pretty much we're going to be able to actually finish up the rest of the forms of Originull Wasteland by going for the next level, which appears to be by the forms of Moonlight Canyon. So, yeah, let's get this thing to it then, shall we? So, obviously, if you couldn't tell already, is the fact that today's day is, of course, the 18th of April today, in this case in 2022 today. So, yeah, it feels like about the fact the matter is, though, is the fact that we are almost getting pretty close towards the point where we pretty much almost at the next month, which appears to be on May. So yeah, if you ever think about it though, it's the fact that, relatively speaking, it's just the fact that there's not much else I can honestly try to talk about because, well, you know what I mean, I'm still pretty much rough around the edges, but thankfully I'm still getting a bit better, but as a result though, it might be still a bit more far cry to the forms of how it does it on the previous days ago. Especially noticeable that I'm still usually, relatively speaking, COVID positive again. So as a result though, that I still need to able to get some rest every once in a while. But thankfully though, the weather itself is actually pretty decent, all things considered. So as a result though, yeah, I must able to actually classify for something mentioned about the fact that I still need to able to rest up at certain points, but you know, relatively speaking, it's just the fact that it's so annoying, I will have to admit though right away. So anyways, let's go and navigate for this little dark room again by simply utilizing the forms of the light bulb Kirby mouthful mode, so we can able to actually just you know, navigate for the actual dark room while we can able to actually just do not fall into the actual obstacle course. So yeah, you pretty much expect how this is going, and of course, just like the forms of how it does it on you know, in the third world, that basically we need to watch out for those lit up Gordos right there, because again, if you're able to actually activate the brightness onto your light bulb, then basically those little light Gordos just manage to able to actually just to chase after you. So yeah, that pretty much explains it. So anyways, let's keep on moving along, and we have to watch out for those little crumbling pillars, so just in case we don't able to actually just to fell through. And then as a result though, then well, the good thing about the forms of the light bulb Kirby is the fact that you can able to actually just to see what's on the left or the far right on a specific distant path for depending if you manage to able to. Oh wow, I realize I actually missing one of those Waddle Dees, but either way though, we'll come back for that eventually. So either way though, let's go ahead and take down this little poster right here, because obviously that well, we need to find 3 of these. So right now we've actually found 2 of them at the moment, so looking good so far if we're able to actually just you know, trying to find specific amount of items to get. So yeah, that pretty much explains it for the sake of time. Oh yeah, something's worth mentioning is for this point as well is the fact that I suppose I forgot to mention about this ever since in Mario Party 8, that recently I've managed able to watch The Lion King, the original film, not the remake though, because the remake honestly kinda sucks. But as a result though, I usually watch the original, thanks to the forms of BBC One, managed able to actually show the original film on the forms of yesterday on Easter Day. So, and I fairly, you know, enjoyed it a lot, even though unfortunately though, I did manage to cry yet again during the course of the forms of the actual Stampede segment. So yeah, that always gets to me, especially noticeable with how intense the actual orchestrated music becomes. Especially noticeable about the fact that my heart keeps on beating a lot if I see the forms of some intense moments here and there. But either way though, it knows what it is. But I really try not to cry, but most of the time it just always gets to me. But either way though, I'm sure that most people already know what what to expect about that point. So, oh, this looks familiar. We need to be able to try to avoid the sleeping abilities, because if you get involved with the sleeping ability, then you will obviously fall off and able to actually take a bit of your health. So, and speaking of such, we did manage to clear the secret room without falling off, so, or without falling, as far as that's been concerned with, so. Anyway, so I get the feeling the next Waddle Dee is going to be in here, because I somehow accidentally missed that as soon as I able to actually figure this out, so. But thankfully we did manage to able to found him, so yeah, you get the idea about that. But, anywho, and another thing I want to explain about this point today, and that is the fact that recently I've managed to able to watch another Doctor Who special, which this time around though, it does manage to take place in, I would say, kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean kind of esque feel to it, but to be more specifically, it's likely the title's named, I would say The Legend of the Sea Devils, and it was alright. I mean, surely that I was expecting that. It has been donkey's years since I actually watched Doctor Who, ever since in back in the beginning of this year so far. So, relatively speaking, I found that particular special to be alright. So, yeah, that might be something worth noting for the sake of the fact that, wow. Again, I will have to stress this right about now, that I do apologize if my commentary gets way too off at this point today. Clearly it's because of the fact that I'm still, you know, very, very rough and all that stuff though, which to be expected by this point, so, yeah, just because of the fact that, well, hopefully I will be, you know, a little bit more better than the forms of how it does on the past days, just because, well, you know what I mean when it comes to that stupid, C word that I'm probably not going to discuss upon it ever again. So, yeah, that might be something you need to classify for noticing that. So, there we go, we've managed to able to rescue another Waddle Dee, so keep that in mind, you always have to able to go onto the right segment, rather than just going to the left, for that particular whole thing, from that particular canyon parts to somehow manage to able to crumble. And of course there's an option for you can able to actually retry in case if you're missing something, so that should be good. So anyway, so before we leave the level, we need to go in here with those 3 cactuses. That way we get ourselves another Waddle Dee, because for that particular secret that you've actually found. So yeah, because what if I managed the first time I play this level on my own time, that I always get confused at first whenever where the next Waddle Dee was located. So yeah, but thankfully though in this particular playthrough that I somehow managed to found it. So anyways, we got ourselves the work sign along with Kirby Burger. Oh, interesting. As well as the needle, and that's pretty much about it for those figurines that we simply collected. So there we go. We pretty much completed the forms of that particular level. So, not too shabby. Well, despite the fact that we are missing one Waddle Dee left, and that's what appears to be one of those hidden Waddle Dees that we haven't exactly found yet. So, but hopefully we'll find out as soon as we're able to actually see that little cinematic scene where, you guessed it, we're pretty much able to actually access to the boss level. So, yeah, that should be, surprising to know. So, but then again though, we'll save the boss fight until for later, because obviously the next thing we need to do now is just, well, try to find that last, you know, Waddle Dee before we get on with it. So, but hopefully until tomorrow, assuming if Sonic will able to go back onto WarioWare Twisted, then hopefully he'll able to discuss upon some extra stuff, including buddy forms of the last point of the game on WarioWare Twisted before that particular Let's Play will be finished, because as far as I'm aware is the fact that I suppose that Sonic will able to save that conversation until tomorrow, that I don't think he can probably able to actually just to unlock everything for his own time, just because, well, as far as I'm aware is the fact that, relatively speaking, with that particular you know, the recording setup with the emulator, with, you know, anything else to be more specific, that, it just feels a bit, well, how should I put it, all over the place, I think that's what I'm try to save for this point right here. So, yeah, anyway, let's just go ahead and, oh, dang it, I somehow fell off by complete accident right there. So, I do definitely know there wasn't a door around here, so we'll just have to, like, keep on moving forward for a moment, so we can able to expect that we can able to actually just, well, move along slightly. So, anyway, and I suppose I should probably mention about this as well, I guess, is the fact that I was expecting that maybe next month that we could possibly able to actually just to see Kirby 64 the Crystal Shards on the Switch online membership services and during at some point on May. So, but if that's true, then, you know, there'll be excitement for those who have not tried out Kirby 64 the Crystal Shards yet, for those who have not owned the original cartridge, or the Wii Virtual Console re-release, including the Wii U Virtual Console re-release version of Kirby 64 the Crystal Shards. So, but either way though, you pretty much expected how the fact that that might be a good opportunity for you to able to actually finally try out Kirby 64 on your own spare time, for assuming if you try to able to actually access to the forms of that particular, you know, Nintendo Switch Online Membership Services expansion pack and everything else to be more specific. So, but you know, you get the idea about that. So, oh, and apparently though, is the fact that, remember what I said before from the likes of yesterday, that I've been watching The Simpsons recently, because obviously I enjoyed my time as well. Apparently though, there was actually going to be a special The Simpsons kind of short, which involves around that particular familiar singer that she usually sings No Time to Die theme song. So because of that though, I can't remember what her name was though, because I do apologize for that particular mispronunciation of certain singers or certain actors or anything else to be more specific, because then again though, I've just felt a little bit rough around the edges today, because, well, hopefully that again, and doing it at some point in the next few days, I should be able to feel myself a bit more better, I guess. But sometimes no time will tell, because obviously sometimes that you know, recovery might take a bit of a long time to do. So at least as far as I can usually try to able to make out, is like, well, I don't know how you're able to record that, I'm afraid. But anywho, so let's go ahead and do this little gliding segment again. So hopefully we would be able to actually just to grab, well, not only, but in forms of some more food for healing, and also just get some more star coins if we bypass those specific rings, as to be expected. So yeah, let's get out to focus here. So I don't want to able to risk myself for getting hit multiple times by certain canyons and all the other stuff. But thankfully though, we did manage able to beat this level in a bit of a quicker time. But either way though, that the only longest part about for the level for me though, it was definitely on the gliding segment. But that's okay though, because either way though, we've somehow managed to able to finish the level like so. So there we go, we've managed able to complete the Moonlight Canyon. Pretty cool level, I have to say. Especially noticeable about the fact that it does manage to take place in nighttime. So that should be pretty cool, aesthetically pleasing and stuff. So there we go. We managed able to rescue that last Waddle Dee on that particular level, as you probably already noticed. And before we do anything, we need to go ahead and deal with the forms of, well, more, what else? More treasure roads. So yeah, that might be something worth knowing for the sake of this conversation in mind. Oh, and I do apologize for that particular sniffy nose you hear in the background. That's only mainly because I was gonna able to try to say something else, but unfortunately though, it's just the fact that, oh, this level's pretty fun though. It's the fact that you were able to actually use the toy hammer in order able to actually go all the way higher way up onto that particular tower segment, and then as a result, while trying to deal with the forms of a lot of enemies to able to encounter, and every once in a while, if you do somehow manage to activate all those switches, then you should able to actually get yourselves the redstone. So yeah, I'm gonna say, this is actually a pretty awesome treasure road to go through, just because, well, obviously we have to climb all the way higher up in order able to progress. So yeah, I do like that particular treasure road, honestly. So, pretty swell stuff, I have to say. So anyways, let's move on to the treasure road. So we can able to expect we can able to get yet another rare stone. So hopefully we're able to actually get the insane amount of those. You know what I mean, with all these rare stones every once in a while. But hey, at least it's something to behold. So. And I should probably point things out as well, I guess, is the fact that, relatively speaking, actually there's not much else I can talk about, I'm afraid, guys, because I know for the fact that, well, once again, I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit stilted, and especially noticeable it's, like, kind of awful for this point today, just because, well, relatively speaking, I just don't feel like trying to able to discuss upon negativity or anything else to be more specific, because... well, it's just the fact that I'm still pretty much rough and a diamond in the rough, I guess. But, oh, apparently, though, it's the fact that, relatively speaking, that, ever since about almost a year ago, that, it's kind of unfortunate about the fact the matter is, though, is that one of the, familiar actors from those Disney movies, to be more specifically, Sebastian the Crab, from the likes of the films of The Little Mermaid, which is the films of Samuel... E. Wright, I think that's what it says anyway. Sadly, he did pass away as well in about a year ago due to the forms of cancer. So, yeah, it seems, kind of sucks because obviously that we do miss those very amazing actors from several Disney films pretty much. So, but let's just hope about the fact that none of those actors were able to actually die from that stupid sea thing. But on top of all that stuff, though, it's just the fact that, well, you know, some things happen, I'm afraid. So because of that, though, yeah, I just felt incredibly, like, sad and also disappointed able to actually see those actors go. So yeah, that really kind of stinks. Alright, so now we're going to be dealing with the forms of another treasure road by going to utilize the sword ability, which is, to be more specifically, the Wild Edge version of the sword, or gigantic sword, that we can able to use it from. Well, the only thing that's cool about this is the fact that the attack range is actually really, really good. However, if you try to use the actual charged up sword attack, I was expecting if they were able to actually do like a spin attack, just like the forms of how it does it on the regular sword ability, along with the forms of Link from The Legend of Zelda, but apparently though, that this particular sword only strike downwards, so yeah, just like as you saw from that particular animation, although the damage output is pretty good, but ultimately though, it's just the fact that maybe because I'm used to with the let's say like a horizontal swing with that particular spin attack, but either way though, that's probably just me anyway, so... anyway, so let's go ahead and take those two wild edges down, so because of that though, we can able to actually just get rid of them as much as we can, which we've already just did anyway, so I highly doubt I'm probably not going to make it to the best time record, but either way though, let's double check. Oh, speaking of such, there I go, for that particular target time I've actually reached, so... not too shabby right there, so... anyway, so I think we still got a whole bunch of those treasure rows to go through, so, yeah, because believe me, certain of those, treasure roads that we've already managed able to, win through, that every once in a while, though, is the fact that the majority of the forms of some treasure roads might take a bit of while to able to actually finish every once in a while, but that's okay, because either way, though, with all that video's length in mind, then we should be able to actually just to classify for able to actually just to try to able to complete those specific tasks with all that different stimulations and all that stuff. Well, most of the time anyway, so let's just go ahead and melt those ice blocks, so just in case we can able to actually let the actual flammable rope more able to actually just to able to go across the certain obstacles and all that stuff though, so because obviously if you manage to able to let the lit fire touch the ice cube, you have to restart that particular whole segment again, but relatively speaking, that as soon as you know what you're doing, you should be okay. So anyway, so let's go ahead and just dash through here, and to try to be careful not to able to fall down, especially noticeable about the fact that we don't able to actually just well, waste time, or to be more specifically, do not fall off most of the time. So I guess that's simple enough as it goes by. And there we go, we managed to complete this particular treasure road right here. So pretty snazzy and all that stuff. Oh yeah, kind of thing about it though is the fact that I can't even believe that, well, it's not good until when it gets to the point until later on this week, that apparently though is the fact that you guys even remember that back in the day that some owners for the PC version of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2, to be more specifically the beta version of the game, on the PC version, that usually, relatively speaking, it's been about almost entire a decade when that particular beta version of the game exists. Because, yeah, I even remember about that actually, because either way though, despite the fact that we wait for the game until May 2012, despite the fact that I don't usually able to actually access to online stuff from the likes of the forms of the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3, so, because as a result though, about the fact the matter is though, despite how most people find, you know, the majority of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 between Episode 1 and Episode 2 kind of a bad games to able to actually just to win through, well, that's only mainly because of a lack of originality, as well as the forms of, some physics of the game don't usually work as often as the forms of the classic days. And on top of all that stuff though, it's just the fact that the music gets a bit, I don't know, ear-grating, especially noticeable in Episode 2's case, because with Oil Ocean Acts 2 and 3, these are considerably the worst tracks in the game, just because who the heck thought that was a good idea with that particular track decisions? But either way though, it knows what it is, I guess, but oh well. But yeah, I just cannot even believe that the beta version of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 usually exists for about a decade ago, which is pretty crazy if I have to say, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I do remember that time when they managed able to show us the beta version of the game on the PC version, that some of these textures are unfinished, and also on top of all that stuff though, you can able to actually activate like, I don't know, like a cheat code or something. Well, mind you, it's been ages ago since I actually known about the forms of the beta version of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2. So, just because of how the fact that, maybe because I'm used to with the final version of the game. So, yeah, you pretty much expected how that's going to be able to actually turn out for that particular point worth noting for, so. Anyway, so let's head over to the Waddle Detail for a second, because we need to able to upgrade our usual copy ability, so just in case we can able to actually just to evolve them as soon as we able to, not only evolving them, but also we can able to actually just try to able to actually access to more treasure roads to discover, so we can able to expect that we can how this is usually turns out to be, I guess, so yeah, that Bandana Waddle Dee just trying to tells us about the fact that, well, our Elfilene has been captured and stuff like that, so yeah, not much else to tell for this point. So anyway, so let's go ahead and give the more blueprint to that Waddle Dee right here, so that way we can able to upgrade ourselves another hammer upgrade, and in addition to hammer, we can also manage to able to upgrade the bombs, and even the drill, and also the needle, so, oh, and also ice as well, so I don't think I can probably able to actually upgrade every single of those copy abilities all at once, but we'll deal with quite a few amounts of them, so yeah, let's upgrade ourselves the wild hammer right here, so we can able to expect that we are able to get ourselves a bit of a stronger effort for that particular, you know, that particular copy ability in mind. And also we can able to actually upgrade ourselves the bomb into homing bombs. And yeah, with that particular jingle, as you're probably gonna hear, that actually represents that it's fully involved. So likely for the fact that it's now become the strongest. So, and let's go ahead and just upgrade our drill ability into twin drill. So yeah, 2 drills all at once. So how's that for that? And of course we can able to actually upgrade the crystal needle right here, which is interesting for so much for the fact that we can able to get ourselves, I'm not gonna lie, a pretty cool looking needle ability that we actually gone through. And oh yeah, I think we actually got enough, so that way we can able to actually upgrade our Kirby ability. So in this case we now actually have Frosty Ice. So nice. Nicely done for that particular upgrading standpoints here. So that way we should be all said and done for the most part anyway. So let's just go ahead and equip the Dragon Fire again, so just in case we can able to actually just make this all said and done. Until maybe for later on. So well, it's not going to usually be for quite a while, because obviously we still need to able to actually go through a lot of treasure roads to go through, so but it doesn't bother me too much about it though, because I will have to admit to though that I really enjoyed those treasure roads so far. Well, usually because of how the fact that, relatively speaking, because like I said, it does remind me of those mystery house levels from Super Mario 3D World, except the fact that the biggest difference is this, obviously, that it's not in a bit of a small room while trying to deal with the forms of enemy encounters and stuff like that, as well as some obstacles and all that stuff though, because either way though, every once in a while though, is the fact that with all that, you know, the treasure rooms, or the treasure roads to be more specifically, that some of them are easy for the most part, that we've already managed to win through. However, every once in a while though, it starts to get a little bit more tougher later on, so to be expected with most challenges, I guess. So, and I get the feeling I don't seem to able to actually beat the best time record, so yep, I was literally 59 milliseconds off, so well, that's okay though, because it's just bragging rights, I guess, if you decide to able to go after the best times if possible. So and apparently about the fact about it is though, is the fact that for those several reviews of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, to be more specifically with Some Call Me Johnny did done the Johnny versus video of this game, and it seems to be more specifically that every once in a while everyone seems able to love this game, so which I appreciate it, especially noticeable, and I really enjoyed this game as well, especially noticeable because, get it, because, you know, Kirby in 3D for the first time ever, so yeah, pretty awesome to able to actually see some more beloved stuff when it comes to this game. So I'm not exactly sure which how many sales numbers they're able to have for the likes of the forms of this game so far, but hopefully we will discuss more details about that until whenever we get onto our May for the likes of the forms of you know, the sales numbers so far for Nintendo Switch owners and all that stuff, but I don't think we can probably discuss on that anytime soon, so but eventually we will be, so anyway, so now we need to able to utilize the actual lifting thing, so that way we can able to actually just to hit up and all that stuff, so yeah, you pretty much expected how that's gonna be going for the sake of time, so anyway, and yeah, again, I was expecting if I was trying to able to mention about a lot more details about this, but aside from that, I think that's as far as I can mention about the forms of some discussions worth noting for, because, well, you know what I mean, like I said about the fact that I can't even believe it's been about the entire decade old since when Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 beta version usually exists, and on top of all that stuff though is the fact that until specifically on the 26th of April, to be more specific, that basically Mario Party 9 will be on 10 years old in Japan. So yeah, I can't even believe time flies, doesn't it? Despite the fact that how, relatively speaking, that's well, I honestly have no idea what I was trying to able to explain about this for the most part, just because, well, you know what I mean, like I said, I really wish if I was trying to able to mention about something that's entirely different or new, but unfortunately though, I think I'm running out of ideas for that particular conversation, because, I mean, relatively speaking though, it's just the fact the matter is though, it's just the fact that I'm still pretty much waiting for the DVD/Blu-ray release of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 film and all the other jazz. So But sometimes, you know, making certain parts on DVDs or Blu-rays can take some bit of time to go through, so yeah, it's gonna have to restart that because sometimes I wasn't exactly paying attention to that specific main emphasis on that, I guess, but I digress. Oh, and also another thing is the fact that we pretty much almost at the very end of the Mario Kart Tour Yoshi Tour event, so because of that though, we pretty much expect how that's gonna able to bring us into the next tour coming up, which is to be more specifically until 2 days time for now, so, and thank God I've finally managed able to get something for once, to be more specifically with all that gotcha moments. To be more specifically, I recently got Yoshi in a gold egg, so pretty cool though, especially noticeable because it's pretty obvious about the fact that I don't think we actually, I've actually come across into myself into yellow variation of Yoshi since technically in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or something like that, or usually Mario Kart 8 as well. So yeah, about time they're able to actually let me have something useful or handy. So because of that though, well, relatively speaking, until at some point until, you know, on this coming Wednesday, then to be expected about the fact that with all that stupid gotcha moments, we're still able to actually ruin my opportunities to able to actually get something like valuable or rare these days. So, but either way though, it knows what it is. So, and also I managed able to head back onto Sonic Dash again, so that way we can able to actually just expect that recently I've got myself Movie Knuckles by collecting some old abundance of tokens and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty cool and awesome in my opinion, because either way though, well, despite it's a bit cosmetic and stuff like that, but either way though, I can't help but notice about the fact that the reason why I really want to able to actually get Movie Knuckles as the character, just because, well, it's what I've seen in action and stuff like that. So, and also, whenever I managed able to play Sonic Dash recently, is the fact that whenever I do manage to play as Movie Tails, that he seems perfectly alright when it comes to the forms of that particular model of him. But sometimes if you try to able to actually perform certain tricks, you know, with that specific the swiping or sweeping the screen and stuff like that, like you can essentially just try to pull off some tricks if you get launched by a spring or something. For some reason, it's the fact that, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm pretty sure that his head might actually felt a bit like, oh god, his head has gone almost like disconnected with his body or neck, which it seems kind of weird honestly, but regardless of such though, it might actually just to take me some time to able to get used to with the actual models and everything. So, and until at some point, until specifically this coming Thursday, that the last movie, Sonic movie based character I probably need to get, that's what appears to be Longclaw. So hopefully that should be the case. So, but oh, speaking of the forms of Sonic Dash actually, is the fact that I believe recently we just found out there was actually the Plus equivalent for the sake of the forms of only exclusive to the Apple Arcade. That's what appears to be Sonic Dash Plus, which I'm pretty sure it's basically the same thing, except the biggest difference is this time is the fact that we no longer need able to grind for more red star rings for able to actually just to use real money in order able to actually just to get some of those red star rings. As far as I'm usually recall that correctly, despite the fact that while the actual gameplay structure in Sonic Dash Plus plays exactly the same as the original, except the fact that with all that, well, let's just say with the forms of, well, the different item purchases, I guess. Well, to be more specifically, there's no ads for it, so even though it might be hard to explain, because I know for the fact that I've actually seen a brief footage of Sonic Dash Plus, but to be honest, it feels very identical to the forms of how it does it on the previous version. So anyway, enough about that. Let's head over to the next boss, which takes place in Collector in the Sleepless Valley. So I wonder what boss fight are we going to be fighting against next, I wonder. Well, assuming if we're able to try to go ahead and explore the actual cave, so first things first though, we'll grab the maximum tomato, and let's see what's in here. Nothing else in there at this point in time. Well, I get the horrible feeling about the fact that with that particular mission objective, that we do need that specific Kirby ability, so... But we'll save that up until for later. So for now, we actually stumbled across... Oh look, there's Ferline, or Elfling. Oh, wait a second, that's actually a fake. Oh my god. Silly Dullo. Ah, I see. So basically, it's kind of like the Armadillo, except his name was actually Silly Dillo. Yeah, I do apologize for that particular tongue twist in the end, folks, just because, well, I was going to say something, but because of how, in fact, my ruffiness at this point in time is the fact that it just ruins my commentary, so... And by the way, with that particular objective, as you saw, that I have to get rid of those fake Kirby dolls. So, yeah, that's one of those mission objectives that we actually done. So, yeah, if you think this battle's over, well, we need to do a bit of a quick dodging kind of, you know, routine and stuff like that, as you saw, because, well, in order to actually avoid his rolling attack, well, basically, you have to able to guide and then tilt the control stick quickly with either left or right, and then sure enough you would able to actually dodge his rolling attack. Although if you try to utilize the forms of the Dragon Fire ability, then you can able to actually do this boss fight a bit quicker. But relatively speaking, I think the only hardest part about this boss fight for me is sometimes it's definitely, of course, no damage run again. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but oh yeah, every once in a while though, if you think he's down, well, he's obviously got... Oh, come on! I was expecting if I was trying to dodge through that. I guess I'll try that again at some point once we finish up with the first attempt right here. So, and hopefully I'll beat him in the quickest time if possible, in addition to that. So, hopefully he might be down in any moment's notice, so... it seems... It's kind of a shame, honestly, that I managed to get hit a lot. So, anyways, let's do a fire dash straight into him, and there he goes. So hopefully we're able to rescue more Waddle Dees there, in addition to the forms of getting another Waddle Dee from that particular time limit. So, in this case though, we need to beat him for about 2 minutes or something. And of course, we got ourselves another blueprint, and I think this actually belongs to the forms of another upgrade for the Ice Copy ability, so... Yay! Awesome stuff. Well, assuming if that we need to able to... Oh, are you kidding me? I have to use the hammer in order to do it. Fine, fair enough. We're all trying to deal with that anyway. But of course, before we're able to actually deal with that particular boss fight again with Silly Dillo, basically we have to go for that particular auto sequence for that. You know, every time when you defeat the boss, then obviously we'll head back on to Waddle Dee Town for a bit. So that way we can able to actually just to see what's new around here. Such as, for instance, we've now stumbled across another Gotcha machine, but this time in Volume 3 variant. So in this case, we now stumble across the red machine. So, and of course, we can able to actually upgrade our ice ability as much as we can. So, I'm pretty sure we got enough of those redstones, so that way we can able to actually upgrade our next ability, which is of course Blizzard Ice. So, but hopefully we're able to actually get enough as it goes by. So, yeah, let's just double check anyway, so that way we can able to get enough. So, yep, we got enough. So, hopefully we won't be able to come across into ourselves these treasure roads for quite a while, until specifically whenever we move on to the next world. So, there we go. We've now actually equipped the Blizzard Ice. So, looks pretty fancy, all things considered, with all that particular design and all that stuff though, because obviously we've actually got a lot of ice in our hats, so yeah, that pretty much expected by that point. So And it looks like we ended up in, I would classify as saying a lava-themed world, which in this case we have Redgar Forbidden Lands. So, yeah, I guess we're not able to rescue Elfeline before it's too late. So, but we'll save that until the next video, because obviously we'll save that particular world until on Wednesday as far as this is concerned. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and then head back in there, and hopefully we're able to actually deal with the last 2 remaining objectives. So, and hopefully once that's been done, then we pretty much concluded the forms of Originull Wasteland. So, I'm presuming that's what the world itself is called anyway. So, anyways, let's go ahead and keep on moving along and try to get that maximum tomato before we start the fight. And of course, as what the mission objective tells me to, I have to use the hammer the whole way through. So, not only to use the hammer the whole way through, but also to not get hit once. So, yeah, wish me luck on that part. Especially, although thankfully that will be, it won't be long though, until whenever we stumble across for those mission objectives like this. So, we'll see what happens there. Okay, if you couldn't tell already, another jump cut for this point right there, just because, jeez Louise, this guy can take me a lot of tries, assuming if I was trying to do a no damage run. So because of that though, yeah, I can't even believe that particular boss is kind of tricky with no damage. So, but apart from that side of things though, I think this particular boss is overall pretty easy to take down, well, assuming if you're not careful enough. So, and of course, that sense we got to do is the bit of a slow fashion way by able to actually utilize the hammer ability, which as far as you probably already know. But luckily, there's a way you can able to actually deal the ridiculous amount of damage to Silly Dillo. That way we can able to actually just to pull up with a charged up hammer swing, and then that way you can able to actually deal with a ridiculous amount of damage. So, seriously, it feels like I'm almost like a caveman with all that. Well, the actual design of the wild hammer and stuff like that, which is always pretty slow, I have to say. So, anyway, so, yeah, I suppose the final thing I should probably explain about for this point today, that is the fact that, well, to be more specifically, later on during the month, that a Canterlot Wedding Parts 1 and 2 from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, in this case the greatest finales ever, along with the forms of Twilight's Kingdom Parts 1 and 2 from the likes of in Season 4, that basically is the fact that a Canterlot Wedding, both Parts 1 and 2, are going to be a decade old until later on in this week or next week. I'm not exactly sure. That's only mainly because I didn't pay attention to the actual release dates for that front. So, hopefully I'll discuss more details about that if we manage to able to get back into this game. Along with the forms of how the fact that, well, potentially if Sonic were able to actually decide able to, you know, continue things on WarioWare Twisted Let's Play. So, yeah, things gets a little bit more, you know, relative at that point. So, yeah, that's to be expected at this point, so. So yeah, it looks like we're not doing so bad anyway, because as far as I'm aware, that like I said, the only biggest aspect about this fight sometimes, so close, I was literally off by a little bit of health left, but if I somehow get hit, I'll get out able to do a continuous restart of that particular fight alone. But hopefully though, as soon as we're able to try to deal with those, try to dodge these things, and then thankfully if they go into a wall, then basically they'll just break easily, so. Oh, goodness gracious, that was close. Come on. There we go. Whew. Jeez Louise. I think for the amount of attempts that it actually took me, I'm pretty sure it actually took me about 5 attempts, assuming if I did somehow manage to do a massive jump cuts, so. But there we go, we pretty much deal with the forms of Silly Dulo again, but this time around though, we did manage to able to 100% for everything on that particular boss fight, so. There we go. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for everything in terms of Originull Wasteland. Well, for the most part anyway, because I'm pretty sure we're still missing something, but I'm pretty sure that'll be for later on throughout the game. To be more specifically, we need to get that specific blueprint in order able to actually get something from that particular later on throughout the game, I guess. So there we go, we've rescued every single one of these on this world. So yeah, I think suffice to say, we'll go ahead and end things off here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Kirby in the Forgotten Land. That is the fact that we'll move on to the forms of the 6th world in this game, known as the something like a lava themed world. So see you guys until on Wednesday. Later fellas.